Hey guys, how you doing? Today I thought of something fun that I wanted to try. I'm going to tell a story about my dance experience, something that's happened to me in the past. Um, I don't know, might be fun. I figure it might inspire some people. Some people might find it funny and laugh. Some people might get a kick out of this and enjoy it. So, yeah, here goes. This particular story it actually takes place about 5 years ago. I was with this group called the J Lions. The J Lions was, like a hip hop group. They had a ton of different people involved. There was breakers, DJs, rappers. It was like a real hip hop group, and they were really popular in Israel for like a good long time. Um, and I joined in like much later. J Lions first started like decades ago, and as once everyone had like already like moved away or went to military or did other stuff, I joined the group later on. It was like smaller at this point, and it was just a few guys trying to keep it together, trying to bring it back to life. Um, it was me, B-Boy Rets, this guy named Happy, a few other people. Um, and yeah, it was good times. So yeah, I was running with this group for a little bit, and this is where the story takes place. It was about 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when I taught my first ever dance class. So me and these guys, the last legs of the J Lions, were like trying to, do stuff for the dance scene of Jerusalem, trying to put together events, trying to do fun stuff, put together classes, like really tons of stuff. We were the last, it was like we were the last bastion trying to rebuild a hip hop dance scene here in Jerusalem. Um, that was years ago. The scene has since grown, but back then it was like really small. So me and these guys were trying to like bring it back to life. And one of the things we did was there was this guy named Marty who owned a studio called Jet Venues, and we had a deal with this guy. He said that we could run events at his place, um, which was a tricky situation all on its own because we didn't, at this time, all of the events in Jerusalem for hip hop, not a lot of people came, so it was hard to make money. So we couldn't like rent out a studio. So we made this deal with this guy named Marty. He said like, I don't care how much money you make, you guys just give everything to us, which was super, super nice of him, super great guy. But it didn't work out in the long run because like we weren't making enough money, but that doesn't matter. That's like later on. The first dance class I ever taught. Wow. Okay, that was an interesting situation. Basically, at this studio, we used to do a bunch of like, we would do competitions, events, parties, try to like, bring people to Jerusalem, say like, hey, come dance with us, come whatever. We would bring, people from Tel Aviv came, people from, wherever else came, and, new dancers, new people from around Jerusalem came. And something about these events and these things that we would do at the studio is we would teach classes, workshops. Um, I was pretty new to dancing at this point. I'd only been dancing for like, I don't know, little more than a year or two. Do I have the timing right? I started dancing when I was like 15, 16. This was like 17, 18. I don't know. Point is, I hadn't been dancing long enough to teach a workshop. But these other guys in the J Lines, my friends, they were like superstars. They could, they were perfect. They were like amazing dancers. They knew everything about dance. And, every question I had, I came to these guys and they answered everything. So, what was I doing in the J Lines, you might ask? I was young, passionate, and I wanted to help. So, I often got stuck with some pretty stupid jobs. I was usually like managing events, running social media stuff, anything other than like an actual dance stuff, because I wasn't good enough yet. But I would do like everything else behind the scenes, um, which later on proved to be an amazing opportunity because I learned a lot of skills for future career options and stuff. Point is, being behind the scenes, all the managerial stuff became really handy later on. Um, but yeah, at this point in time, I wasn't actually teaching classes. I wasn't actually doing much dancing. Like, I was dancing, but I wasn't good at it. And so basically, my friends would teach the workshops, and wow, there was this one night, oh my gosh, I'll never forget. There was this one night where one of my friends, a member of the J Lions, was supposed to teach a workshop for the event. It was all planned out. I had everything planned out. I knew, that this guy was going to teach at this time, and then it was going to be a party, and then whatever. Everything was planned out. And it was 5 minutes before the workshop. The guy who was supposed to teach, my friend, like very, very close friend of mine. So like, I wasn't angry. I wasn't, it was funny. It was really, really funny. My friend, he shows up 5 minutes before the workshop out of nowhere. He's got a beer in his hand, and he walks up to me in the hallway. He's like, "Bro, I can't teach the class." And I asked him, "Why? Why can't you teach? Why can't you teach the class? What's going on?" He was like, "Bro, I'm wasted." This man was drunk off his mind. Oh my God, he could barely walk straight. He showed up to the class completely just blasted. He couldn't even string together a sentence. He was with a friend. The friend had him like over his shoulder, he was like carrying him, and he was like, "Bro, listen, I'm sorry, I can't teach the workshop. You're gonna have to teach it for me." And I was terrified because I can't teach this. I had never taught before in my life, so like I was pretty terrified. I had no idea what to do. I was like, "Listen, bro, are you sure you can't teach?" And he was like, he like tried to walk in a straight line, almost stumbled. "Yeah, I'm sure." Like, it was like a scene out of a movie. He was just completely gone. And I was like, "All right, I guess I'm gonna teach this class." And this guy's been dancing for like 14, 15 years, even more, since he was like really young. He knew a bunch of different styles, and he had met tons of famous dancers. Like, this was the guy, he taught me like virtually everything I know. And I have to teach instead of him. And I was like, oh no. Okay, so basically, I go in and I say, "Hey," I introduce myself to the people at the event, like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Some of them recognized me, some of them didn't. Thankfully, most of them were newcomers, so they wouldn't, it wasn't anyone that knew. I had no idea what I was talking about. So my friend had told me what the class was. He was going to teach a class about characters, adding like character to your dance style. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I know what a character is, I guess." Or it wasn't characters, it was emotions. It was something about emotions, whatever. I don't remember exactly, but I was like, "Okay, I can do that." And so I taught this class. I made it up completely on the spot. Everything was completely off the top of my head, off the dome, freestyling. I had no idea what I was talking about whatsoever. I would just, for 45 minutes, I rambled, and I just, whatever came to mind, I just threw it all out there. And at the end of the class, people were clapping, people were happy, and I was like sweating bullets. I was like, I couldn't feel my legs. I could barely talk. I was so nervous. I wanted to just like run away from the event, disappear. And my friend, who was supposed to teach the class, he comes up to me. He just, he puts a hand on my shoulder. He looks me dead in the eyes. His breath smells like alcohol. He looks me dead in the eyes. "That was a great class." He just looks at me, "Well done." And for me, this was a huge moment. This was like, I made it. I'm running with the big dogs now. Hey, you know, because he was like the guy, you know. So the fact that he was telling me that I did a good job, like it was like big day for me. That was the first class I ever taught, and it was the first time I thought to myself, hey, I could get used to this. And ever since then, whenever I could, I tried teaching classes. But that was the first time, that's when I got my feet wet, and wow, what an experience that was. Thank you, bro, for showing up drunk to the class. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today. And yeah, thank you guys. That was the story of my first class ever. Lots of fun. I hope you guys got a laugh out of it, and I hope your guys' first class does not go the same way mine did, because it worked out in the end. But there was, you know, ideally you would have taught the class and then whatever, but it worked out. It worked out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Bye.